So in this video, we're going to be talking about setting up your broadcast on Production Truck. So at this point, you've set everything up. You've got your camera or multiple cameras set up, all plugged in and ready to go. Everything's plumbed into the laptop you're going to be broadcasting from. You've got your soundboard on with all your headsets, a crowd mic, everything you're going to be kind of pulling sound from. Got everything powered on, fired up, ready to go. I'm going to show you how to get that going within Production Truck and make sure you're drawing and getting your sound, getting your video correctly going here. So we'll start by firing up Production Truck. If you're working off one of our laptops, you'll have Logan's login info auto-populate here. So just go ahead with that and press login. First thing you want to do when you get in, it will ask you to confirm this before you start the broadcast, but just like to get into the habit, check up here up top. I'll blow this up full screen. Make sure you got the right school selected. So we've got 7 different feeds, our 6 schools that we have going into this year, and then also just our general Game Time media feed where we can broadcast from the GameTimeMN.com website if we're doing that from time to time. If it's a dual stream broadcast, we have that set up in the back end, so you should always be streaming from the channel of the school you're physically at. So if you're doing a Shakopee Prior Lake football game and it's in Shakopee, or you want to be doing that from the Shakopee feed, it'll broadcast to both channels. So you can pick that sandwich stack here. You can click this sandwich stack to pick the game you want to do. So we've got our fall schedule for 2022 loaded up here. We'll just stick with the volleyball game against Chanhassen we've got coming up. First thing you want to do after that, you click this gear right here in the middle of Production Truck. This is how you're going to tell it where to pull the camera feeds from. So we're here in the audio video tab. Camera 1, if you're doing a 1-camera setup, you'll just be using that. You want to select Ultra Studio Recorder 3G, which is the name of the Blackmagic box that you've got the HDMI cord connected to the camera, plugged into that. You've got a Thunderbolt cable coming out of the Blackmagic box connected to your laptop, so we'll pick that. Depending on the setup, I found most of the time for line in, you're going to have to switch it to HDMI and embedded audio to get the video feed coming up. Sometimes you don't need to. Our Shakopee set, which I'm using right now, you'll see we do have video now pulling once I select that. This is my home office bobblehead collection. I've got the camera pointed at. So that's where we're pulling that from. We've got video. We're good to go here. So that would be your camera 1. If you had multiple cameras, it's the same idea. You're able to switch between them and kind of pick what you want your other cameras to be. We're going to go straight to audio 1. I don't have my board plugged in at this moment for this example, but what you would do is you'd go down and if you have your board powered on, you're connected in USB to the laptop, you're going to want to make sure you've got, it's either going to say USB audio codec or it will be the name of the soundboard you're using. We have a lot of Pro FX model boards that we're using. So it'll either say Pro FX or USB audio codec. Select that. What I do, and I wish I had my board plugged in to kind of physically show you this, once you have the board selected, you're going to see levels showing up on this main audio tab over here in the bottom right-hand corner. Mute everything on your board and talk, and then unmute it and talk and see that the levels are, when you mute everything, you don't have levels. When you unmute them, you do have levels, because the default that's going to be in audio, it's going to be pulling from the camera. Like if you select this USB recorder 3G, you might think, oh, I'm getting levels, I'm fine, I'm ready to go. But what that's actually doing is it's pulling the audio from the mic on the camera. So you don't want that. So even though you have levels here, it doesn't mean you're necessarily set up. Make sure you're selecting the USB audio codec or the Pro FX mixer selections from here to make sure that you're pulling sound from your board, getting it through your headset and your crowd mic rather than that camera. You don't want it would be very difficult. You'll be just kind of a mouse squeak coming through the audio if it's pulling from the camera in that sense. So once you have audio and video, you're basically set to go. You're going to want to go over to this network tab as well too and run a test to make sure that you are have an adequate connection to get the broadcast going. So we'll wait here a few seconds. We have a successful test. That looks good. It'll tell you if there's ever a problem with the internet connection. You should be hardlined in, ideally, rather than using Wi-Fi when at all possible. I recommend here going up, turning off Wi-Fi. You can go to network preferences and see where you're connected. I'm just in my home office here, so I don't have a Ethernet line right now. But what I would do is I would actually just click this Wi-Fi button here and just shut off the Wi-Fi, so you make sure that you're pulling from a USB or an Ethernet cable, I should say. Sometimes it'll have Wi-Fi and Ethernet. You want to ideally just have it be drawing from the Ethernet, so just shut off the Wi-Fi and have it come directly from there would be my recommendation. So that's the network. If we're using the Scorebird, you're able to go up to this scoreboard and select Scorebird. That will be pulling from the Daktronics machine in the stadium, in the gym where you are, to get that automatically pulling feed, etc. We'll have a little bit more on kind of how to use the Scorebird and pull from that, I think, in probably a future video. That's the basic setup. You have audio coming, you have video, we have the kind of the bones of what we need to start a broadcast. When you see that you have both those components, the audio and the video, you're going to want to start a test broadcast. You would hit that test button in the top right. It would ask you to confirm, and it's again going to be just double checking that you've selected the broadcast you want. You would hit confirm at that point. There is no harm in starting a test broadcast as early as you can. You'll get error messages if there's an issue with connection, anything like that. It's really good to get it going as early as possible. Once the test broadcast is running, you'll be able to click live and hit go live once you're ready to start. And go from there. So start that test broadcast nice and early, get it going. When you go live, I recommend just kind of pausing once the countdown starts going back up. Here, counting from 1 and up, just waiting 5 to 10 seconds before you actually start speaking. It's on a little bit of a delay, so if people go back and watch it on replay, you might have your first few words get cut off. So wait a few seconds, start talking, and get it going. That's the basics, is how to do the broadcast. We'll have a few specific instructionals on how to do some graphics later on, but that's it here for this video of getting your broadcast going.